Am I the asshole for kicking out my boyfriend's sister after she kept making offensive jokes about me? I told my boyfriend's sister that she's not welcome in our home anymore because of her constant criticism and insults toward me. I am a 20 female and I live with my boyfriend in our apartment right now. It took him a while to introduce me to his family, but once he did I hit it off really good with his mom and his sister, until the more we hung out, the more offensive jokes his sister would make about my appearance. It's also important for me to note that I always found my boyfriend's relationship with his sister really weird. When we would all hang out, she would sit on his lap, play with his hair, and compliment him an unnatural amount. It felt like I was third-wheeling sometimes and it made me extremely uncomfortable. I never told my boyfriend because he'd call me crazy. I told myself that other people have different dynamics with their siblings and shrugged it off. I convinced myself it was normal. A couple nights ago she came over with her friend so the four of us could play poker and hang out. It was going fine until she started making those jokes again and acting really pick-me with my boyfriend, which is so weird. They're related and it grossed me out. She made a random joke about there being some stuff on the floor because I couldn't bend over to clean because of my stomach fat. I managed to hold my tears in when I saw that my boyfriend tried not to laugh at it. I am not plus size, I am 130 pounds. An hour later we were casually discussing life and I told her and her friend that I went to a college that some people consider low-brow, because of the easy acceptance rate. She told me that shocked her and I asked what she meant. She literally said, "Because you're and then pulled her eyes back. I'm Korean and I never thought I'd hear a joke like that after high school. It enraged me. I stood up and told her and her friend to shut up and stop laughing. My boyfriend told me to calm down, but this made me angrier. I yelled at her and told her that she's been hurting my feelings the whole time I've known her and that it needs to stop. She looked at me like I was crazy and told me she was just kidding, lighten up. I said it's not funny if it's at my expense. I screamed for them to get out because they kept making faces to each other acting like I was insane or something. She sort of cried a little and left while her friend comforted her. Later on I argued with my boyfriend because he said I went too far. We got over it and he's not mad at me anymore, but I am still annoyed with him because he never stood up for me once. I found out through him that his sister and his mom have been talking bad about me. I am so upset. I should have been the bigger person, but I let my emotions get the best of me. I feel like a huge awe. I feel like I overreacted and should have just kept my mouth shut." Added in, "Understand why people are shitting on my boyfriend for his unfair behavior. I'm mad at him too. But I do want to make it clear that though he's often never on a specific side or has a strong opinion, he has very much been there for me. Whenever I complain about conflict or am upset about my trauma, he's always been there for me. That's exactly why this is so hard for me. I'm sure most of you have been in a relationship, so you can understand how it's scary to leave someone that you value so much." By the way, he didn't laugh at the racist joke. His face actually indicated that he was offended too. He just didn't say anything. He only laughed at the fat joke. Still bad though. Added in, "I'm gonna talk to him tonight even though I'm really scared. I'll try to keep this updated. Not the asshole. Do you really want to deal with this for the rest of your life? A spineless boyfriend and his gross sister? Her behavior toward him isn't normal. Not the asshole, but why is he still your BF? You said everything's alright because he's not mad at you anymore. Girl. I can't for the life of me understand how you continue to put up with the disrespect, blatant and unapologetic racism, or frankly, the gaslighting. All I can offer in terms of advice is, run. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend and his sister both suck. Not the asshole. Not nearly a bad person either. Being the bigger person is good on a one-time or limited basis, when confronted time and again by the same person, on basically the same subject and having the same boyfriend ignore your needs. Well, that calls for you to take action on your own behalf. To top it all off, she pulled this crap in your home. Good for you. Your boyfriend and his sister, well, that's a weird one. Just curious, what is boyfriend and his sister's age? Not the asshole, she was being racist and that's not a joke, especially in your home. Your boyfriend is kind of an asshole too for not standing up to his sister's jerky behavior. I would honestly run from that whole family. If she's obsessed with your BF, she's going to be obsessed forever, and who knows what kind of weird relationship they have. I think she deserved much worse and I wouldn't spend any time with her moving forward and certainly not let her back into my home. She's toxic AF, you should run away from this whole situation." Am I the asshole for using proper terminology to neighborhood kids when answering their questions about my dog? Sorry for being wordy. Want to make sure I represent the conversation correctly. Late 30s F. Recently bought my first home. My neighbors are a married couple around my age with 4 kids, 3 boys who are somewhere in the K 3rd grade, U.S., age range, and an older girl, but she was not present in this situation. I've had very limited interactions with them, but we would always greet each other, friendly small talk. But now that they're out of school, the boys are outside a lot and are very interested in my pets since they do not have any of their own. One of my dogs, we will call her Pancake, is a pit bull I recently rescued who had been used for breeding for several years. She is the sweetest girl in the world, but she has very evident signs of physical trauma. She has chronically swollen mammary glands, vaginal prolapse and hyperplasia, which causes a dark, swollen, oddly shaped, very prominent vulva. She is now fixed, and I promise she sees a vet regularly to closely monitor these conditions, but she is doing great. Soon after I brought her home, the 3 boys all ran over to meet her when we were walking. Conversation went something like this. I don't recall which kid asked what exactly. Kid. What's wrong with her? Me. Nothing is wrong with her. This is Pancake and she is a very good girl and would love for you to pet her. Kid. Why does her stomach look like that? Me. Well, she came from a situation where people weren't very nice to her and she was used for breeding for many years. Kid. What's breeding? Me. It's when someone forces a girl dog like Pancake to have puppies so they can sell them. It's not always very nice and can sometimes hurt the mom dog. Kid's mom starts to walk over, definitely within earshot. Kid. How many puppies did she have? Me. I don't know exactly, but probably 60 or 70. Kid. She looks like a cow. Me. I can see why you think that. Those are her teats. It's how she fed all of her babies. They're just a little bit larger than you may be used to seeing on other dogs because she had so many babies and wasn't always allowed to have proper time to recover. Kid. What's on her butt? Is she pooping? Lots of laughing. Me. No, she is not pooping. That is her vulva. That is where all her puppies came out. It's cut off by mom. Mom. Seriously? These are children. What is wrong with you? Mom calls her boys to go inside. Since this incident, the mom has actively prevented the boys from coming over to see my dogs or talk to me, and has completely ignored my existence. I'm not super hurt by this, although Pancake is. But I also don't think I really did anything wrong. That said, I do not have children. I'm not really close to anyone with children, so I have limited to no experience around them. So, am I the asshole for how I responded to their questions? Is there a more kid-friendly term for vulva I should be aware of in case I'm faced with a similar situation in the future? Edited for formatting. Sorry, I'm on mobile and not great at Reddit. Not the asshole. You're fine. Mom is just uptight. There's nothing dirty about the word vulva. Not the asshole. Using the proper words for genitalia is the right thing to do at any age. What do those boys call their wee-wee? Poor Pancake. I'm a big believer in telling kids the truth and using correct names for parts of the anatomy. But these were someone else's kids and you seem very unclear about how young the youngest ones were. Kindergarten age would be 5 years old. So it's entirely possible that one or more of these kids doesn't have any idea where babies, or puppies, come from. Given this likelihood, it would have been wise for you to tell them that poor Pancake's body got hurt and then refer them to their parents for further explanation. So pleased that you rescued this dog, but gentle you are the asshole on explaining what being a breeder dog means to tiny children who might have no idea about procreation in general. Nah, people are way too Puritan about these things. At the same time, these are kids who are still in grammar school, and may not necessarily know all that terminology you were telling them. Giving them an impromptu sex education is kind of out of the ordinary for a neighbor. If I were those kids' parents, I'd be upset too. It's my job to teach my kids about that stuff. Maybe the next time you have a curious kid asking about your dog, just be a little more vague. When a mommy dog has too many puppies, sometimes this can happen to her, but we're making sure she stays healthy from now on. You are the asshole. I'm very liberal and I always use the correct terms with my children. My kindergartner knows she has a vulva and her brother has a penis. She knows what belly buttons and umbilical cords were for. She watched me breastfeed her brother and had a ton of questions about that. She kind of knows she has a vagina, but she doesn't know what it's for. Yet, telling a kindergartner how babies come out of the mommy is too close to giving them the sex talk. That's firmly up to the parent's discretion at that age. Just telling the kids that it's from the dog being mistreated is enough. Then, you tell the parent in private and ask if it's okay to give more information. Am I the asshole for not allowing a service dog into my house? I, 25 female, recently got my own place. It is small, so I can only have a certain amount of people over at a time or it will get very crowded. I thought I will throw a little housewarming party, so I sent out invites and asked for RSVP so I could plan the right amount of food. Luckily most the people on my list said they will come. On the day of the party, halfway into it, my cousin Beth showed up with her girlfriend, Tina, 25. I have only met Tina once before this but knew that she has some medical problems and she has a service dog that helps with her seizures. Tina brought her dog with her that day as well. The thing is, I don't like dogs. I'm not afraid of them and not allergic to them and I can watch them from afar or on films, but I don't like interacting closely with dogs in real life. My home is pet-free. I don't mind other animals like cats or fish but I also don't keep them. I just don't like dogs, the smell, the bark, everything. The other thing I should mention is that Beth did not respond that she will be at the party and I also did not invite Tina. As I said, limited space. I told Beth and Tina that they are welcome to join us but I can't have the dog in my place. I'm not ready to deal with any kind of emergency regarding the dog. Tina argued that the dog is her service animal and if I don't allow her dog to be with her, I might as well just kick her out. Here's where I might be Instead of saying anything back to Tina, I just stood there, staring at her. I mean, kicking her and her dog out did not seem like a bad idea at all, to be honest. Tina seemed to get the message and quickly told Beth they should leave as they shouldn't stay where they were not welcome. Beth and Tina later called me, saying they couldn't believe I was such an ableist. I just don't want dogs in my space. Am I the asshole? Edit. Thanks for the comments. I want to clear a few things. Tina's not my friend. Just because she dated my cousin for 2 weeks doesn't make her a friend. Beth also never had a relationship longer than 6 months. Nobody in the family ever +1 when inviting her. I accept that I'm ignorant when it comes to SD. However, I don't think not wanting a dog, service or not, into my house is ableist. Beth knows about my issue with dogs. I also accept that I handle them crashing my party badly, but I tend to freeze when put in unexpected spot, hence the silent staring. I was torn between asking them to leave and inviting just them, 'cause we could squeeze in 2 more in a tight fit. I chose to let them in because I thought it's more polite than making them leave. Reading your comments, guess I was wrong. I disagree, however, about having disabled people in my life. I have a friend who lives in the city I moved from. She's blind and has a SD. But we make it work by meeting outside, park and whatnot. Her dog is never in my home. She thought I was not the asshole in this case, FYI. I think just because you're disabled doesn't entitle you to make other people accommodate your needs. In my opinion, you didn't refuse to let a service dog into your house. You rightly refused to let a party crasher in. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. She wasn't even invited. That was rude of her to begin with and you're not obligated to have an animal in your personal space if you don't want one there. Not the asshole. Service dogs don't have to be allowed in a private residence. Especially if you don't like dogs. Not the asshole. Only because you didn't invite Tina and Beth didn't respond with her +1. If you ever invite Tina into your home, you need to accept her medical device along with her or you're not the asshole or an ableist. You're not compromising your home for the need of someone who was never invited. You should ask Beth and Tina if they made dinner for the old lady down the block from them, and call them ableist when they tell you they didn't. Am I the asshole for not wanting to cut back my spending in order to afford my wife's therapy? My wife, 38F, and I, 39M, have been married for 8 years and have a 3-year-old son. My wife started seeing a therapist about 18 months ago to help with her mental health. She struggled with anxiety, stress, and childhood trauma. For the first year or so, her therapy was partially covered under our insurance plan. But then the insurance company changed something which no longer covered that particular therapy group. It would still cover therapy, but it would have to be from a different provider. Needless to say, it's gotten expensive. To the point that our monthly budget has to be adjusted in order to cover it. Our basics are still covered, but our savings and expendable income are definitely affected. We've had many talks about this, but can't seem to come to an agreement. I want her to start looking for a therapist that would at least be partially covered by our insurance. She is refusing because she likes her therapist and they've been very helpful to her. I will admit, her mental health has improved and I'm very happy for her. I'm frustrated because pretty much all of the cutbacks to our spending is directly related to me. I like to golf and would usually go 2-3 weekends a month. But now, I've only been going maybe once a month. Sometimes once every 6 weeks. I also admit that golf is a rather expensive hobby, but it's pretty much the only hobby I have that I do just for myself. I also enjoy good whiskey and my wife got pissed when she found out I bought an expensive bottle the other day. It's not like I go through it fast, that bottle will be in the cabinet for 6 months. It started a fight about my spending and how I can't just be throwing money away on things like that if our budget is tight. The fight came back to her refusing to look into a different therapist that could save us money. She got mad that I brought that up again and told me that she's not going to spend the time and energy to find a new therapist when she already has one she likes and is helping. She said she doesn't want to cancel with her current therapist because she would probably have to be put on a waitlist if she wanted to go back. And that it could take her a long time to find a new therapist and would basically be starting from scratch with someone new and could possibly have to go through multiple therapists to find one she likes. I told her I'm tired of having to adjust my spending to accommodate her therapy cost when there is another solution available to us and that she could at least entertain the idea of finding a new therapist. That pissed her off even more and she straight up told me that her mental health is more important to our family than my fun money. She said she's not going to look for a new therapist so I need to drop that idea and not bring it up again. She told me that me going golfing a few times less a year is not a huge deal in the grand scheme of things compared to her improved mental health. Info: has she given up any of her hobby time or treats or luxuries to help with that or just you? Nah. She should speak to her therapist about modifying the rate, and charging her what they were charging her insurance. She could also speak to them about sliding scale options. All therapists bill insurance a fraction than their retail rates. E.g. they charge $300 per session, but insurance pays them $80 and there is a $20 copay, so they make $100 per session. Most also offer sliding scale for uninsured customers. Considering your wife has seen them for a while, and you are really just asking them to adjust your billing, not his income, revenue, they should be amenable to this. Feels like yes YTA. You are the asshole. Golf can wait and her mental health is more important than golf. This can't be real. You are the asshole.